WC, I don't know, the restroom. But when I was like, what is the WC? What am I?
Actually, WC is more descriptive than restroom because usually I make use of the water in the closet rather than like resting there. I mean, there's some resting there. Some, but it's not the main priority I'm going there for. Anyway.
In the southeast position as the Red Terran. He is currently in the lead 2-1. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Marineking Prime, who is on game point too, Grubby.
Yeah.
In the southwest, close by air positions as the Blue Terran, it is Complexity Heart. And as I mentioned, his life is on the line here, Grubby. Will he play a really safe game? I kind of expect maybe we'll see that that gasless CC opening again, just because it lends itself to maybe a little bit longer game. But
it's hard to say, man.
MKP's so unpredictable too.
Yeah, they've both been changing up their rhythm so much.
Look at that. Refinery first.
From both.
From both.
They're seeing through the pattern, man.
They're like, well, wait, he's going to cheese me, but maybe he's like, I'm going to cheese him before he cheeses me, and then both going to cheese each other.
Well, and of course, there's a 50% chance on a map like Shakura's Plateau that you are right next to each other, close by air. And I mean, that's such a map for stuff like Helion drops and Banshees and Medivac, well, obviously Medivac drops. So
yeah, the close by air could make a huge difference here. And actually just based off of where the placement is.
Yeah, but just because there is a chance, a 50% chance, maybe opening Refinery first is quite prudent here, so you can also be aggressive. Because you would have to defend your natural ramp and your main base, and your main base actually so close by air to the opponent. It will be hard.
I feel like, I mean, well, at least between these two players, this should definitely lend itself to a pretty interesting game. But at the same time, you know, Hart being kind of up against the wall a little bit, like his tournament life relies on this game. You know, I mean, every single decision he makes is just going to have to be spot on. That means that I expect him to be very diligent about scouting, to make sure that he is prudent about his timings. But we're seeing basically, well, here we go, the Reactor Hellion opening coming out by Marineking, and we're going to get the Tech Lab potential Banshee opening coming out of Hart here.
Well, no starport yet. It could be tanks from the factory, because I don't see...
It could be, yeah, you're right. Could be.
So, as you said, Hart has more of a burden to scout in order to not get surprised and cheesed out in his possibly last tournament game. So he has ascertained where Marineking is. He also detected that there is no low ground expansion. So I feel like he's pretty confident that there is in fact going to be a refinery opening from Marineking, as he has himself. Now, you said correctly, a starport is being built on this tech lab and a reactor on the factory. Now, it could still be anything. You know how these great Terrans, they can be so creative with how they swap out their add-ons, and you won't know for sure until you see the first unit being produced.
I think Marineking's going for pretty much the exact same build that he did last time, as effective as it was in this situation. We see the starport much closer, and did he, you know, he still doesn't know where his opponent is.
Yeah.
Which is just kind of asinine. He's going to send his force out, but if he knew where Hart was, it would be a no-brainer to go ahead and do what he's doing. But he is going to move out right here. There's no one with vision of the center, so Marineking is still...
Yeah, he's heading to the top with his Hellions now.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, Hart's not seeing this happen, so this will be very, very interesting. At the front, there's no defense from Hart.
Yeah, this really helped Hart. He was sitting on 3 Marines as Marineking was moving out, and since Marineking moved upwards first, it just gives him that much more time. Now sitting on 5 Marines, and will get his Banshee to Marineking's base soon, who is building a Viking. He knows, after all, there could be a Medivac or a Banshee coming soon. Viking will help with this. Now, the Banshee is going to get a lot of kills, at the same time as Medivac Marines and Hellions are causing a world of trouble on Hard.
Oh, and that's a supply block right there. He is not reacting with his Marines in the back, pulling a lot of SCVs, Grubby. He's going to take out another one of these supply depots, which will put him further into the red. Actually, he gets one supply depot up, but this second one is going to make a huge difference. One tank is out. He lands the Viking as well as he brings forward these Marines. The SCVs come for Hart, and Hart should be able to hold this off, but will be found in a supply disadvantage. Where is that Banshee? Did it come back?
The Banshee died to the Viking. Viking has one kill. The Banshee did manage to take out 10 or so SCVs, so nice result there. If we look at the worker count, Marineking on just 16 and Hard 24. He used those SCVs in defending the attack, but as he realized his landed Viking and the tank were more than capable of dealing with this army, he quickly pulled them back, only losing about 2 of them. So have to call the early game advantage to Hard here.
I agree with you. He's got more Marines. The siege tank is out. We do see more Hellions popping out here from the reactor, and that, you know, could be a problem here for Marineking. Is he going to get out another medevac? No, he's continuing to get Vikings. So I'm curious to see if he's still going to keep this drop play in progress here. As we have more tanks coming out. Yeah, there is a load up. He's going to go over there at least with the Hellions.
3 Vikings and a Medivac now going across the map. I liked Hart's decision to not defend his 3 supply depots, just waiting till he gets the maximum amount of defense out. Now drop gonna happen. These 3 Vikings will take care of that 1 Viking very easily. Auto turret being dropped down and will do some damage on the first Hellion. SCVs are being pulled, mineral field quite close, so they couldn't quite follow up, and almost no SCVs lost, and now the tanks are back to defend. Oh, beautiful!
Oh my god.
No way.
Oh my god, that was 22, and it doesn't even matter that the Banshee went down. 22 SCVs. It leaves Hart with 10. Just when you think it's safe to go back to the mineral line.
Everything so good. 20 SCVs in one shot.
Yeah.
I'm just falling off my chair here.
And you know, it forces an attack on a Hart. I mean, what do you do in a situation like that? Like, wow, you're in a game match situation, a game point situation.
Yeah, it was such a mistake.
He's got to attack.
The Hellions were not gone yet. He really couldn't do that. It was just a little bit too impatient with that. And Marineking knows all he needs to do is hold off. He's right in position. Banshee will be a pivotal role. Will get taken out right away by those Marines, but Marines are all lined up taking out that Banshee, and Hellions by Marineking were expertly positioned at the top and would do maximum splash damage on those Marines, and most of the force of Hart's attack has been taken out here. May in the end win this battle, but will he win the war? It's hard to say, most likely not.
Marineking is like chain repairing SCVs, and unbelievable the amount he actually ended up killing right there. There it is, GG! And Marineking moves on to the grand finals of the MLG Spring Arena in a 4-game TVT that once again was one of the fastest series that I've really seen in quite some time.
Yeah, we saw Marineking there on the camera whispering a quick Sugoyo, well done to Hart. I can only imagine it did look like that. At least I'm not the best of lip readers, but that's what it looked like. And that's the kind of feeling you would have after a series like that. Both gave it their all, muscled their way through each other as best as they could. But Marineking, the correct choice.
He made the correct choice, and you know, he played Hart in the exact same way that he played him in the group stages. There was, or excuse me, in the round robin stages. There's really no, there was no alternative to his style. It was very much that I will play you in the aggressive, most one base styles that I could possibly come up with. Let's shoot on over to QXC and JP, guys. Another quick series. QXC, did you feel like this was exactly like what we saw yesterday in their matchup then?
Yeah, I mean, even though the builds were a little bit different, we're still seeing the same kind of very aggressive play that is actually very typical of these kind of players, especially in TVT. When you see both players doing this very fast gas opening, you're going to see short games. Sometimes both players will see that they're kind of doing the same thing and they'll both back off, or one player will back off and they'll try and macro. In this case, both players saw they were doing the same thing and they just went at it. And Grubby, you were right. The person who got gas won that game.
Well,
Every
that
time.
was kind of a no-brainer in the last game,
Well,
QXC.
the last game.
But I'm glad you noticed.
So, guys, we have a NOS performance replay that we are going to do here as a part of this series.
Crucial moment here, obviously, with those Hellions being landed. Initially taking only about 2 SCVs down, you could see right there. And get poised for the major flame of those SCVs. We're going to see a huge ignition here. Hellions looking to be taken away, and Hart thinks the coast is clear, and boom!
Gosh, I mean, you know, it did appear as if the right decision for MKP or the Terran player with the Hellions was to pick up. You know,
Yeah, and
he
his
hadn't
medevac was
lost anything. The medevac was moving. It looked to be that situation where it would happen, but you're right. I mean, you know what? Can we see the vision of the Terran when that happens?
Yeah, let's look at Hart's vision only.
Hart's vision, the vision of the Terran. So
I'm gonna go away. I'm gonna go away.
He knows exactly where they are. Oh wow!
Yeah, and we also see that Hart did not control group his SCVs.
Can we zoom in on the SCVs as they all die a horrible death? There we go. One more time for full effect, Grubby. Look at that. The mule is so good it survived.
Usually I take, like, when I pull workers from the line in the face of an imminent threat, I try to put them in control group 2, so that if something happens that requires their immediate evacuation, I can click 2 and send them away. And
that's pretty...
We saw they were not in a group. He had his Raven in group 2, he had all of his army in group 1, and his SCVs were sent. By the moment he realized that he was making possibly a lethal mistake, he couldn't get it back.
No, he could not. And all the SCVs go down thanks to that NOS performance replay. And that means that the next matchup is going to be DRG versus Ganji, and this was a matchup that was dictated by Marineking Prime because he chose to face off versus Hart. So the number 2 seed Ganji going to be going up against number 6 seed Dong Rangu, and that is going to be coming up next here on StarCraft 2 Central. JP and QXC, any final thoughts about that series before we continue?
That SCV line, man. Holy crap.
Terran always wins.
Yeah.
Terran always wins,
man. 22 SCVs gone in the bad of an eye. That was insane.
I mean, it was a good move by Marineking, kind of faked out. Like, you definitely saw it was in his mind to lift up, and then the SCVs came back, and he's like, nah, I think I'll stay around for a little bit longer.
Yeah. And it was a good decision. Good decision on his part. So coming up next, it's going to be DRG taking on Ganji, a ZVT that should be quite a display of fireworks. So thanks for joining us. We'll be back with more in a little bit.